Hello and welcome to this latest episode of Premier League Predictions with myself, Matthew Christ, four-time Premier League winner Brian McClair, and we're on to week 36 of these Premier League predictions we've been doing, starting all the way back in August, which means we've got 3 more weekends to look at. As we know, Brian, things are tied up at the top and the bottom, but we have got this fascinating clash for these Champions League places that... well, thank goodness we have, to be honest, because otherwise we'd be struggling to find anything to talk to each other about, wouldn't we?
Well, no, I'm sure we'll find plenty of things to talk about. Maybe not necessarily Premier League fixtures, but plenty of things. Week 26, Tempest Fugit, incredible. It's just astonishing that people tell you that 20 or 30 years ago, wait till you get to my age, and that time is just dissipating. That seems to be the case, particularly as this Premier League season has unfolded, and indeed in all the other competitions too. We find ourselves in May, almost at the very end of the season.
Well, that's what happens when you spend every week talking to me, Brian. Yeah, your life just flashes before you. So let's make the most of the
joy that we're having together.
Let's make the most of these last 3 weeks we've got. Let's start with the 3:00 games, and it's Everton versus Fulham.
Everton have won 1 of their last 10 visits to London, and after 4 wins from the first 6 games that David Moyes was since when David Moyes got appointed, they won 4 from 6. Everton, just as well, at one of the teams that are grateful for the bottom 3 being so poor this season, have only won 1 of their last 10. Fulham haven't drawn any of their last 15 Premier League games. Just short at the moment, and they won't actually get it because there's enough games left. And in 2018-19, they went 19 games without a draw. And if Alex Iwobi can score 1 more goal, he will join Raul Jimenez on double figures for goals this season. And it'll be the first time since 1967 that Fulham have 2 players in double figures in the top flight. Fulham 2, Everton 0.
Okay, a bit of a tail off for Everton, and you predict there. Talking a tailing off, Ipswich already down, doomed, and they're up against the Brentford team who beat United in dramatic circumstances last time out.
Well, Brentford are looking to complete the league double against Ipswich for the first time. They've won their last 3 top-flight games, scoring 10 goals along the way, including those 4 that you mentioned against Manchester United. They last won more top-flight games in a row in 1939 when they managed to win 5. Ipswich have won 1 of their last 10 league games versus Brentford, although they've only lost 1 of their last 7 home games against them. Ipswich 1, Brentford 2.
Okay, no great surprises there, and I don't think there'll be many great surprises in our next fixture as lowly Southampton host Manchester City. Southampton's still chasing that elusive point, aren't they?
Indeed. City have won their last 12 games versus teams who started in the bottom 3. And in all of those 12 games, they'd scored 44 goals and conceded only 1. And City are finishing the season strongly. They've won their last 4 Premier League matches. Southampton have lost 28 Premier League matches this season and 1 more defeat. They will equal the record, another record for the number of defeats in the season that is equally held by Derby County, Sunderland AFC and Sheffield United. Southampton have also conceded 82 goals this campaign. This has only been surpassed 3 times in their history, 83, 85 and 92. I suspect that this season will be in the top 3 by the end of the next 3 games. Southampton 0, City 3.
Yeah, no disagreements from anybody there, I don't think. And the only thing Southampton seem to be going for now are accolades they wouldn't want. So,
well, they're looking at 1 more point, aren't they? Which looks extremely difficult with the games they've got left.
But yeah, they can't hold that open top bus parade in Southampton for another 2 weeks. Wolves up against Brighton.
Brighton are unbeaten in the last 6 Premier League games versus Wolves, and also scoring 18 times in those 6 games, and they've won their last 3 visits to Molineux. But however, Brighton have only won 1 of the last 7 Premier League games, including losing the last 2 away from home. And Brighton have had the most different scorers in the Premier League this season than any other side, with 16 different players notching for Brighton. Wolves have won their last 3 home games. Naya Nouri has been involved in more goals than any other Premier League defender this season, 11, 4 goals and 7 assists. Wolves won at Brighton 2.
Okay, right. Well, when we were looking at these fixtures before we started recording, I singled out a couple of games that I think are probably the most eye-catching of this weekend, and the 5:30 game on Saturday is one of those. It's Bournemouth, with their aspirations of European football themselves, at home to Aston Villa, who are obviously chasing potentially a Champions League spot.
Well, Bournemouth, I'm sure when they looked at the fixtures at the start of the season, would have expected to go to Arsenal away and come away with all 3 points. They're unbeaten in their last 3 at home to Villa, scoring exactly 2 goals in each of those games, and they're unbeaten in the last 5 Premier Leagues with 2 wins and 3 draws. However, Villa are also in good form. Have won 7 of the last 9 Premier League games, and then Ollie Watkins has been involved in 5 goals in his 4 starts versus Bournemouth, 1 goal and 4 assists. His assists is the most for him against any opponent. I think that Villa will be looking to. I think that Villa will want to win this game a bit more. I know that Bournemouth have also got something to go for, but Villa being in form, searching for that elusive Champions League spot. Bournemouth 1, Villa 3.
Yeah, I think that's a fair result. Like you say, Bournemouth may have gone as far as they can, but certainly no disgracing themselves there. Well, we've got a busy raft of fixtures on Sunday, so we'll take the opportunity to take a quick break, and we'll be right back in a couple of minutes. Hello and welcome back to the second half of this week's Premier League predictions, and we've reached Sunday's games, and we've got a 12 o'clock game unusually on this Sunday, and it's the second game which I singled out for my eye catchers this week. Again, based on 2 teams going for European qualification. It's a mouth-watering Newcastle.
I
Chelsea.
agree, Matthew. Yeah, it should be a exciting game of football in the northeast. Chelsea have only won more Premier League games against Spurs and West Ham than they have against Newcastle, and they've also won their last 3 league games. Newcastle have won 7 of their 11 home Premier League games versus Chelsea, including the last 2 under current manager coach Eddie Howe. And only Liverpool have earned more points than Newcastle over the last 20 league games. Newcastle 1, Chelsea 1.
Interesting. I mean, I suppose Chelsea would think that would be a decent point gained away at Newcastle, wouldn't they?
I think that the way they are, they're looking at winning the home game and picking up points in the other games. It just depends on what happens with, of course, with Newcastle's results. Nottingham Forest are still there. We'll talk about later. And Aston Villa.
Yeah. That's the interesting. Yep, interesting battle in that race for Europe. Now, 2 teams who aren't involved in that race, although one of them might be through the back door. It's the 2:15 games. It's Manchester United at home to West Ham. 2 teams. I don't know where you're going to start with this one, Brian.
What popped into my head quite incredibly, Matthew, was that we get to this situation in the season with the 3 league matches to go. And we're talking really potentially about the fight for 17th place. Never thought that would come out of my mouth when I'm talking about Manchester United at any time in our history. 15th against 17th. West Ham have won 3 of the last 4 games as they look to complete a double for the first time against United. They look for the first double for the first time since 2006 and 7. But West Ham are winless in the last 8 league games, which is their poorest run since May 2011 when they went for 9 games without winning. United are unbeaten in the last 16 home Premier League games versus the Hammers, winning all of the last 4 without conceding a goal. However, United have had no league wins in the last 6, which is the poorest run they've had since 1992, when they went for 7 games without winning, although that ended up being a pretty successful season
Yeah,
for
well,
them.
you say they went, you
Oh,
went.
we went, yeah.
Yeah.
I was part of that, scenario, yeah.
Don't be too modest.
So, so Manchester United to West Ham to.
Oh, well, you threw a curveball right in there. I was looking at the stats and United. I mean, there's all these stats about how poor United have been. It's their worst season since way back when you were playing and beyond further. And it just makes you think where on earth they would be if it wasn't for this Europa League run, and what questions would be being asked about their manager.
Well, yeah, indeed. I mean, it's there's a very interesting scenario in that there could be 2 English clubs in the Europa League final. One that even if they win the Europa League might not be enough to keep him in a job, and the other one is just clearly Manchester United's coach, whether they get to the final or not, or whether they win the final or not. I would imagine that he's going to be the coach of Manchester United next season.
Yeah. I mean, famously, we've spoken about it before, but the famous Forest game in 1990, people said it kept Fergie in a job, and then look what happened following that. I'm not sure those days, we'll see those days again, because we've seen United managers previously win trophies and be dismissed, but I'm not
Well,
saying
you've
that.
already got. I mean, there's already a sort of defence statement from Amarim where he said even if the qualify for the Champions League, they're a long way from being competitive.
Yeah. It's interesting, though, isn't it? Because he said even if they win it, it's still a poor season, which is bizarre because 20 years ago, so whenever you were playing, winning any kind of European trophy was seen as a great season. But to think that winning Europa League is still not deemed as a successful season just shows the emphasis that's placed on the Premier League.
I think you're absolutely right, Matthew. Maybe that's how the emphasis changed. I'm sure there's plenty of other teams that are round about there, West Ham included, who would be delighted to be going into potentially a European final like they did a few years back under David Moyes.
Yeah.
It just shows you that the expectations of Manchester United, and of course the expectations of Spurs, who haven't been winning trophies for a long period of time, but there is still that expectation.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to tell any of your colleagues from that 91 Cup Winners' Cup victory in Rotterdam that it wasn't a successful season, but
No, of course, it was very successful. Yeah, indeed, yeah.
Looking at it through 2025 eyes, though, it might not be seen as that. But so talking of European qualification, next up we've got this East Midlands derby. Yeah, means nothing to Leicester in terms of points, but certainly does to Forest if they're going to have any chance of finishing in that top 5.
Well, Forest need to win all their games, I think, really, to have any chance of qualifying for the Champions League. That they've been in a good position to all season. Jamie Vardy now on 199 goals and there's 498 appearances for Leicester, and he's level with Robin van Persie at the amongst the Premier League goal scorers with 144. Leicester have won 1 of their last 18 visits to the City Ground. Foxes have lost 5 and drawn 1 of their last 6 away league games, and they've conceded 14 goals. Forest, out on a poor run, have won 1 of their last 5 Premier League games, including their last 2 at home. And their talisman striker, Chris Wood's next goal involvement will be his 100th in the Premier League. He has 88 goals and 11 assists. Will it be a Vardy and Wood record day? Forest 2, Leicester 1.
Okay, I know you didn't answer your own question there, but they could both be on the score sheet, I imagine, and it could both be a momentous day for both.
I think that Jamie Vardy will score another goal, assuming he stays healthy for the last 3, and of course if he's selected by the manager, he will. For me, he will score that goal.
Yeah.
May well be in his 500th appearance, but I wouldn't discount him scoring at Forest on Sunday.
Yeah, the aforementioned Tottenham are there at home to Crystal Palace.
Well, one of the teams that Spurs have had a great success against recently. They've won their last 9 home league games against Palace. However, Spurs have garnered the fewest points in London derbies than any other sides this season, with 11. Palace have 46 Premier League points this season, which is 3 short of the record total, which they have achieved 3 times. Palace are winless in the last 5 league games, drawing 3 and losing the other 2. Spurs 2, Palace 0.
Okay, and finally we've got a little matter of a Super Sunday game, which, if things had been a little bit different, could have been an absolute cracker, a title decider. As it turns out, it's
Yeah,
not.
well, it's the third time that Arsenal will be facing the champions before the season finishes. They played a game against Manchester United. I think the other game was against Liverpool also when they last won the league. So and they beat Liverpool in that game. In all competitions, Liverpool are unbeaten at Anfield against Arsenal. A run which stretches back to 2012. And Salah has only scored more goals against Manchester United and Tottenham than the 11 he has scored against Arsenal. And this is where Arsenal's Premier League season has faltered, in that they have dropped 21 points from winning positions this season, including the last league game. And that's their joint most in a single season. Saka has scored 4 goals in his last 5 starts against Liverpool. All of them were in London. Liverpool 3, Arsenal 1.
Okay. I guess if that's the case, Arsenal might be looking over their shoulders at the maybe not finishing second for what it counts for. I'm not sure, but after a disappointment.
Yeah, because I mean, there's you want to finish high up as you possibly can, don't you? So, but there is that possibility, and then it's going to be very difficult. I mean, and I think that Liverpool will bounce back from that defeat they had in London last week, and they want to, and I'm sure both managers, of course, want to win the game, but I think Slot wants to finish with as many points as they can
Yeah.
this season. At home, they've been incredible, apart from that one defeat.
Yeah, it's also their first game back at home, having clinched the championship. I mean, for what any difference that makes, I'm not sure, but there'll be all that kind of stuff thrown into the mix, I'm sure, on Sunday. So don't think there'll be any resting on laurels, that's for sure.
No, I think Liverpool will be, Slot will be picking the strongest team that he can. I suppose that might be dependent on what the feeling is around Alexander Arnold, who announced this week that after a long, long time at his hometown team, that he is going to be departing for different pastures.
Yeah.
Which could happen actually quite swiftly, because I believe that Real Madrid would like to take him to the Club World Cup.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if he does feature in these remaining 2 games. It must be a tricky decision. I don't know if it's something you've ever had to experience, but I suppose there's something to be said for maybe just keeping him on the bench and out of any kind of limelight.
Things are always going to be changed quite quickly in football, aren't they? He could be the favourite player in the team, homegrown, come all the way through the academy. He's been there since he was 7 years of age, had incredible success for them, and he's going to go. And I think it's always more of a bitter pill for the supporters when it's one of their own that's deciding that they no longer want to be with, as the supporters see it, their team. So maybe a tactical decision with regards to whether he's going to be involved or not, which was a bit of a shame, really, and it might as well put a damper on when they get the trophy in the last home game. So.
Yeah, I'll put you on the spot here slightly, but where do you stand on it? Young lad, young guy, peak of his powers, potential move, been at the club all his life. Can you understand it?
This is something that's never gone away. It's been prevalent in football, probably going all the way back to the 50s. Almost nobody turns down Real Madrid, irrespective of where they come from, what position they're in. So I can understand albeit being at his hometown team, he's fantastically successful. I can see why he would want to join Real Madrid, and there's players before him have went down that route, haven't they, with Michael Owen and McManaman, you know, so I can see why, indeed he would, but I can see why he would stay. I think all along it looked as though as soon as they'd showed some interest that it would be, as he did say, it's been the most difficult decision.
Well dodged on that question, by the way. Yeah, I never knew you were a Libran, but yeah, you answered just like you were one. So
thank you.
That brings us to the end of this week's Premier League predictions. Don't forget to let us know your thoughts and give us your scores in the comments below. And we'll be back next week for what will be our penultimate show. And we'll see you then. Bye for now.